Thank you so much for joining this video session today. My name is Litonki Fernando, and I am from the Creative team. I am here to talk to you mainly about the new features, the new and exciting features that we did launch with our recent Creative 4.0 relaunch that we brought about just a couple of months back. This is where we brought in a lot of features around work management, around playing around with data capabilities, and also creating data relationships between different shapes, so that you could go ahead and have all of your processes in the same workspace. And no matter what industry you're from, I assure you these features are going to come in handy for your day-to-day work. So with that having said, I'd like to go ahead and tell you how exactly these features work on the Creately workspace. But first, I'd like to give you a bit of insight about where Creately started from, and throughout the 16-year journey that we came through, the kind of changes that we brought about to the different features that we have, and also how in introducing certain changes, how we outdid our own selves and brought about great and amazing solutions for our clients. We tried to give them the best, and we of course outdid the expectations. So I'd like to show you that journey, just tap a bit into it. So before that, I'd also like to tell you what our clients have to say about us. So if you see right here, you see some of a lot of big household names who are part of Creately's existing client base. They've been with us for quite some time. Companies like Netflix, NASA, Citibank, Facebook, National Geographic. These are some of the clients that we work with, who have trusted us for so many years and who have remained with us so that we could give them the best with the feature advancements that we bring in every now and then. And if you look at the user ratings that we've captured through G2 and Capture of Creately, you'll see that in terms of ease of use, quality of support, and also the overall UI itself, we've received very positive reviews and ratings. So I just wanted to show you that so that you would know exactly what you're stepping into, or the kind of faith that you can put to Creately. I'm just giving you a bit of assurance right there. So with that having said, to very briefly talk about how Creately developed over the years, like I mentioned before, Creately started off as a very basic diagramming tool, right? Just like a million other tools out there, we had the capability to pull out a template onto this workspace and start developing on it. You could make it your own, and that was the extent. Okay, but we didn't understand there were so many tools out there who could do the same thing, exact same thing, and we needed to be a bit different in order to advance in this market space that we were operating in. So that was prior to 2019. Okay, and with the onset of COVID in 2020, and also especially because we wanted to bring in a bit of change onto the platform, we thought, why not create a platform that will allow all of our clients to get onto one single workspace and work together? I mean, when COVID came around, the most massive issue that a lot of people out there faced was they had to work from home, and they had to figure out a way to work collaboratively. That is why solutions like Zoom and Google Meet got a lot of attraction at that point. But Creately actually went on to onto a big soar. They really, really liked the collaboration aspect of it that we brought in. It was not just a matter of fact where you could get into the platform and chat and work, but you could also map out all of your processes on Creately itself, and have everything on the same workspace. So it was the response that we received was humongous. And moving forward from there, by about March of 2022, this year, we thought, why not also bring in the data element into Creately? Because we were dealing with a lot of corporate entities out there, and some of the responses that we received from them mainly focused around the ability to bring in a bit of data elements, ability to make change, and bring in a set of information from outside and put it onto Creately and start developing on that. We listened to all of that and we worked on it, and that is how we brought in the work management platform, and we stand where we are now today. So that has been our journey over the years so far. So focusing on some of the features that we brought in these different phases. Back when we were a diagramming tool, like I said before, we gave our clients the capability to draw anything on this workspace in two ways. There was a lot of templates, and there was also the capability to select shapes and connectors, pull them onto the workspace and start working on it, expanding on it, right? So let me show you how exactly you could access the templates. Go to the templates folder, and you'll see that there are so many templates sorted into different use cases, right? If you are someone from, say, for example, the marketing industry, you go into improving plans and strategies, and you get a whole set of templates dedicated for marketers out there, right? You get things like product strategy canvases, risk matrix templates, scenario planning matrices, all that. You get all of it on the Creately template section, right? So there's about 100 different templates which are sorted into these different use cases. If you're from the networking industry, again, we've got templates for you then as well. We've got Google Cloud Diagrams, AWS starter templates. So no matter what industry you're from, like I mentioned when we started, you've got so many templates that you could access and you could draw on Creately. So basically, all of you can be a customer with us. Organizing people and processes, again, if you're from the HR industry, you've got templates for that as well. All right. So let me go back to our slides and show you what else we have. So those are some of the templates we do have. We also have another interesting thing, which is the Create Community. Now, Create Community is a link that carries about 1 million different templates. It's a repository of a lot of templates that you could get access to. Okay, so these have been created by some of our professional content creators or industry experts, and also it has been created by some of our own users who have, of course, set it to public access. Now, these templates, it comes in handy because all you've got to do is just type in your use case here, and you get 1 million different templates pop up. You can duplicate that workspace, drag it onto Creately, and you can work on it, and you can make it your own without making changes to the original version. All right. So that is exactly how Creately Community works. All of these templates you see are based on 100 different use cases that you can find. Going back to the deck. The other feature that I did want to talk to you about mainly was the ability to export these workspaces. Obviously, when you are from a corporate, when you are from, irrespective of whatever industry or sector that you're from, once you create this workspace, you need to find a way to get it out of Creately, right? Maybe share it with your colleagues or get it mailed to your boss. You'd need to get it out of Creately, right? So under this Creately diagramming phase, the easiest tool that we did have, the easiest feature that we did have was the feature to export, right? So when you click on export, you have the capability to export in several different formats, as a PNG, as a JPEG, as a CSV or a PDF, right? But what this did create was a static image or a static file. Now that was a bit of a problem when we presented this to our clients, because I mean, large corporates, they came back to us and said, I mean, this is great, but we don't have the capability to make changes on the fly whenever we wanted, right? Which was true enough. So we really started to dig deep and find a solution for this, which we did. And I will focus on this sometime later onto the presentation. So exporting workspaces, again, was one of the features that we brought back then. And apart from that, we also gave the customers the capability to draw their flows very freely and start expanding on it. For example, this flow that you're seeing right now is a basic org chart, right? It has the name of the person, the position that they carry, and a picture. You can edit this very easily. You just click on it, you get a panel right here. All of what you need is there. You can change images, you can hyperlink an external document. Say, for example, you have a Google Doc or a Word doc outside Creately, you can hyperlink it here. Whatever you think is relevant, maybe the JD or the type of responsibilities that they carry can be included in that hyperlink to that person, right? So how easy it is to expand these templates, let me show you. All you've got to do is just click on the plus sign and a new shape is automatically formed, right? You can put in the image and do all of those edits. Just keep clicking the plus sign until the next image is formed, right? So it's very, very, very easy to get these things done, okay? With that having said, one other thing that I did also want to focus on was the fact that we have got formatting tools that is quite similar to the word editing tools that you find on MS Word, okay? So if you go into shape properties right here, you'll find a whole drop down of things that you can change. You can change the size and the positioning of the shape itself, or the text fonts, the size, the styles, and you can also change the line thickness and the style. So whatever you'd like to do with this workspace with this template that you pulled onto Creately, you can go ahead and get it done. We've given you the flexibility to do so. So with that, I think we can bring to an end the diagramming part of it, right? And we'll go into the next phase, which is where Creately developed itself as a collaborating tool. This is where it gets interesting. So when we first introduced the collaborating option, of course, it was a huge success among almost all of the corporates out there, because they found a way to work from home and get all their work done as well, because we offered these capabilities. Now, if you see the share button right here, this is where you manage participants from, right? So if you click on the share button, you'll see that you have the capability to invite collaborators. You can simply add their email address and define their role. Now, there are two roles offered by Creately. One would be to edit, which is, of course, self-explanatory. You can log into the workspace and you can make your own changes, okay? Then there's also a viewing capability. Now, as a viewer, you can't really make any changes, but you can leave comments for other people to work on. So those are the two roles you can define, and you can invite that person. When you go into collaborator settings, of course, you see a couple of different settings here, right? If you set it for public access, this means anybody could access your workspace, which is, of course, something we don't encourage when it comes to corporates. Then if you go into anyone at your company, you can provide access to anybody at your company to access this workspace and make changes or simply view. And you can also set it up for anyone at your company with the link, or just specific users, only people you're going to invite. All right. And remember when I told you that we had this issue where we ran into a static image only, which could be exported through Creately? I mean, that the workspace could be exported only as a static image. So we did indeed bring a solution to this problem. And that was when we introduced the embed feature. Now, through this embed feature, it generates a dynamic link. This dynamic link could be placed by you in an external website or a SharePoint or any other intranet that you have for your corporate, and just watch the magic happen. I mean, when you make a change on the Creately workspace, you'll see that those edits are reflected on this external space where Creately is hosted in real time. So you can make changes on the fly. It's not a static image, and we checked out both of the issues and we gave you the perfect solution. Our clients loved it, okay, and they make extensive use of this embed feature as well, because it gives them the capability to keep making changes when and wherever they want to, okay? So with that, you also have the capability to make an in-app call, like I mentioned before. While you're working, if you want to have a chat with the people who you've shared the workspace with, all you've got to do is click on the call sign. You can make a call, and that will give out a notification to all of your existing users on the workspace. You can get on the call and you can have that chat. When you're done, just drop off the call. So those are some of the things that I did want to bring your attention to. And here we also have a very basic network diagram. Okay, for those of you from the IT industry, I just wanted to show you how easy it is to create a network diagram of the most basic state. So these are some of the shapes, or these are some of the images that I'm sure you work with. But if you do need an additional set of images that you don't see on this diagram, all you've got to do is go into the shape section, and when you type in network, you will get a whole lot of images popping up for network. You've got libraries dedicated for networking, so you can pull out all that and you can start dragging it on to the workspace. All right, so that is how easy it is to get these things created. Like I said before, just click on the plus sign and you can also create additional versions of the same image. going back to our new phase, the most recent phase that we brought in with the relaunch, this is where Creately services you as a work management tool. This is where it gets interesting, and this is where we brought in the data element, okay? Let me start off by saying that now you have the capability of creating a database through Creately, okay? So you see this data feature, data sign right here. You go in there, and you can create a database. You can simply say, let's say recruiting procedure. That's the name of the database, okay? And you created a new database, right? Recruiting procedure, there you go. Now you already have some information outside in an external file, and you need to bring it on to Creately so that you don't really have to go through the trouble of, start inputting this information again onto these shapes. You bring it on to Creately through a CSV file. So if you have your information contained in a CSV file, you can import it onto the workspace and you can start working on it. Just like it suggests, just like this dropdown suggests, you get GitHub, Jira, Azure DevOps, and Google Sheets as well. We don't have these capabilities available right now. This is definitely in the pipeline. It will be available within the next couple of months. Okay, so keep your eyes peeled. We will let you know whenever there is an advancement. So for right now, like I mentioned before, you can import a CSV and you can get the information onto the workspace. All right. So that's about the database aspect. And now some of the comments that we received from our corporate clients was that they needed to make a change in 2 different workspaces at the same time. Okay, so if you have a workspace here, and if you have a template here, right, a workflow here, and if you also have a template somewhere else in the workspace, mind you, this is an infinite canvas, and you can just put in all of your information onto the same canvas, right? So if you wanted to make changes in 2 different places, of course, instead of going into this 2 or 3 different places to make the same change, we thought, why not give them the capability to make the change at the same time? How is this going to work? Let me show you. What you're seeing right now on the screen is a Kanban board. This carries different cards. And this, of course, it comes very handy for project managers out there if you want to delegate certain projects for your teammates. So I'm going to select this particular card, and I'm going to go into this feature called Shape Data. Okay, Shape Data is a field or a feature that carries a notes section, which will allow you to type in anything you want. When you click on the / sign, you'll see you can type in headings, you can go in with numbered lists, bulleted lists, tables, you can upload files, all that you can do, right? So it'll allow you to do that. And also it'll allow you to put in certain data fields. Now, these data fields are predefined for the card. What I'm going to do right now is assign this card to that database and show you how the changes can be made as and when they want. So I'm going to save it as a new entity type, recruiting procedure. I'm going to say recruiting phase 1 and save it. Okay. Automatically, I've assigned that card into the database that we just created. Okay. Now let me show you. 1 second. I'm going to go back into the database. And I'm going to pull this task delegation card onto the workspace, onto the Kanban board, in other words. All right, there we go. So now I am going to make a change onto this card, which is under the to-do panel, right? I'm going to make a change and I'm going to say task delegated instead. And you'll see that this change is also reflected in the card, which is under the in progress field. So what I wanted to say was when you make that data relationship, wherever this particular shape goes that you pull out of this database, changes will automatically happen whenever you want it to happen. Okay, so it's as easy as that. You can work on it and you can get these things done. And also let me focus on a very important part when it comes to project managers, which is assigning tasks. This is not just for project managers, but of course, every other industry out there. I mean, if you want to assign a task to your subordinates, this is the way to go. So you go on with the card, right? Again, you go into shape data. And I'm going to assign this card or this project one to a specific person. So I'm going to assign a task role through the data fields. I'm going to name that as the owner of the task. And I'm going to assign it to myself so that I can show you how exactly this works. Whoops, okay, right there. I'm going to add another data field, which would be the due date to complete this task. Okay, so with this calendar, I'm going to mark the 8th of June, 2022 as the date of completion for this task, right? Now I've assigned this task to a certain person with due date. I'm going to take you back to the tasks panel, which is on the left side. And when you click on that, you'll see that I have been assigned a new task, which is project number 1, task delegated. Okay. When I click on that task, it'll give me a whole overview of all the information that I'm supposed to do under this task. If I had typed something here, of course, it would give me more understanding about what I'm supposed to do through this task. And also it will carry the data fields, including when I'm supposed to complete this project. It will also be reflected here and here. And once you're done with the task, you can mark it as completed, and it will automatically move on to the done section. You finish the task. Okay, so that is exactly how the task delegation part works. And we also have a notifications panel, which reflects whatever changes you make onto this workspace. Okay, so that is another thing that I wanted to bring your attention to. So with that having said, two last things that I did want to bring your attention to was the history panel. Now, this history panel is also a brand new feature that we brought in. This gives our clients the capability to go back on any changes that has been made onto this work. In other words, it takes a snapshot of these workspaces every 5 minutes. So if you want to go into a previous version, you click on history, it'll give you the time, it'll give you the name of the person who has been logged in as well. You can click on it and retrieve a previous version, and you can go ahead and start working on the changes. An important feature that I did want to bring your attention to was that I mentioned about templates when we first started off, that you have access to 1 million different templates. But we also brought in an interesting thing called toolkits, right? If you go onto the dashboard section of Creately, you will see that we have quite a number of starter toolkits. Okay, so you'd obviously be wondering what these toolkits are. These toolkits is something that we have created by talking to some of the product experts, industry experts out there. All right, we've got their feedback as well, and we're still working on more to cover in all industries and to cover all aspects of the different kinds of requirements out there. So these toolkits, if you pull it onto the workspace, you see that this is an entire workflow. It's not just the templates, but it's a couple of different templates on one workspace. So these there are predefined data fields, there are predefined information that you can work on. Say, for example, if you are from the recruitment industry, you can pull the HR org structure toolkit onto the workspace, and that will give you a whole insight of everything that you want to know from start to finish, or the processes that you need to work with from start to finish. So it's an entire workflow. All right, so this will be more developed within the next couple of months, and again, we'll keep you informed as soon as that happens. Moving on, brought you, and the last thing that I do want to bring your attention to is the support panel, the inbuilt support panel that we do have. This question mark that you see on the bottom of the screen, which is help. You can click on it, you can search for help documents. There are a lot of support articles that you can get access to. You can also contact support, submit an inquiry right then and there. We have 24/7 support. They'll get back to you as soon as possible. They'll attend to your inquiry as soon as possible. And so I mean, support is available. You can also connect with the product expert and ask them to take you through a product walkthrough, we are more than happy to do that for you. So through this presentation, I mean, these are the things that I wanted to focus on. If you do have any questions, please drop your question onto the description box that is in the comments section. And also, if you want to book a call with a product expert, the sales form will also be on the description box. You can go in there and put your details, and one of our product experts will get in touch with you as soon as we can. So I hope there was a huge takeaway from this presentation for you as to how Creately works exactly. And I really hope you would consider getting on board with Creately sometime soon. So thank you so much for getting on the call with us today, and hope you have a great rest of the day.